Hi, my name's Wyatt. I'm the Education Director and the Product Manager at Beadalon. And today I'll be showing you a wire wrapping technique called sumac. We'll be doing a fun little project with it, with a clear glass cabochon. Now we're going to do a technique called sumac, S-O-U-M-A-K. It was originally used for doing binding and banding with rugs, but we're going to be using wire. So I have a clear glass round cabochon, and I want to do something that's going to have something fun underneath, so that's why I chose to do the sumac technique. I'm going to be using Beadalon German style wire, and for this I've decided to use 21 gauge square wire, and to get a little color under there, I'm going to be using 24 gauge fancy round wire. Fancy round wire is a specialty wire that we manufacture that is 2 strands of wire, and then they've been pulled back through a die to get a nice shiny edge on, so you have this really nice play with the light. So we're going to need 4 pieces of the square wire. I'm going to straighten this as good as I can get, and then we're going to cut 4 pieces 4 inches long. And again, I'm straightening the wire with my thumb and my index finger. And that kind of preps the wire and gets it nice and straight. We want the wire to be as straight as possible, because the sumac technique, we're going to be taking the fancy round wire and wrapping it around the square wire, tying the square wires together. So it's a total of 16 inches of the square wire. Then we're going to build sort of prongs out of the ends and bend them up and back around the top of the cabochon. Okay, so now we have the 4 pieces. And again, I'm going to straighten it just a little bit more. Make sure that the 4 pieces are going to be good. I think after seeing this, I think I want to put a 5th piece in there, just for fun. And you can do as many pieces in the sumac technique as you'd like. This also works well for rings. So I'm going to start out with 1 and then continue adding as I wrap. So with the 24 gauge wire, I'm going to need probably about 2 feet. It's always better to have more wire attached than to have to try to splice. Although you can splice, it's pretty easy to splice. So we're going to cut this wire, and I'm going to hold on to and wrap in an area that's going to be about right in the middle of this stone. So we'll start there, and I'm going to wrap 2 times around that. Then I'm going to add the 2nd wire, square wire that is, holding it as flat as I can. I'm going to wrap around just that 2nd wire 2 times. 1. Actually, that gives me the 2 wraps that I wanted. So the first wrap is really not even a wrap, but it does go over it. But I want it to be as symmetric as possible, because this is going to show through the stone. So I'm going to wrap just once, but it appears to have 2 wraps. And then I'm going to put the 4th wire on. And don't worry too much about these being goosey at first, because you can twist and get them on the flat pretty easily with your pliers. We're going to do twice here. And then we take our 5th piece, and make sure it's on the flat. And then wrap around just that last one. Like so. Then we're going to reverse the wrap so that we have a nice pattern, and go around number 4. And we're going to go around that twice. Then move to number 3 and wrap twice as well. And then down to number 2, wrapping twice. And then down to number 1. And so now we have sort of a stair-step pattern. We want to tuck this down nice and tight. Again, thinking about this is going to be behind here, so we're going to have this nice little pattern in the center of this. So we're going to wrap under, then reverse our wrap once again to go around number 2. Make sure and keep these guys a little bit separated so you know which one you're wrapping. Oops, keep missing it. There we go. Then to number 3. Then up to number 4. And then to number 5. Now we want to scoot this all back down. And come back one more time. So I think we're going to have, we might even do it another time. So we go back under number 5, and then reverse direction onto number 4, number 3, number 2, and number 1. Try this on, and I think we'll go back up one more time. Make sure you don't get a kink. Looks like I got a little too much wire, but again, it's better to have too much wire when you end than not enough. So go under number 2 and then change directions and wrap. The changing of the direction causes this to go up and then down, then up, then down again. You can go all up, and then you would have one wire dragged around the back. So there's many different designs you can do with this. Once you learn the basic technique, then you can change it, and you can wrap more times around each wire. There's just so many combinations of what you can do, especially with the wire colors and all of that. The artistic wire comes in really handy here if you want to add some real color to a design. I think we have room for, no, we're going to stop there. So on the bottom of this one, we want to wrap it around one more time, just so that we know that it's going to stay. Then we want to cut this right there. And we're going to wrap this the same way. Bring it up through the center and cut that one. Now we've got we've got to spread these out, leaving probably 3 on the top to do our bail. So I'm going to take and bend this out. So it's got to go way out. To there. We want that to be. So So I'm just trying to see where I want to put each of these that's going to hold the cabochon. And we may end up cutting a couple of these off. But I think with this, we could go here. Now, carefully hold the cabochon right in the center, and then start to bend up again to hold the cabochon in place. And this, you want to be careful of where you bend, because you need to have the sumac technique underneath showing as centered as possible. I think got it fairly good. So we can sort of bend this over and then decide what exactly we're going to do with these. Okay, so instead of doing what we did before by just bending the end of the wire down onto the surface of the stone, I think we're going to make some little paddles. So I'm going to cut approximately 3/8 of an inch. And hopefully get these all the same size. Once again. Still got some looseness in some of these. So I'm going to probably continue some sumac up here to kind of tighten it up. But first, I want to hold firmly, and now I'm going to use the round nose pliers, and I'm going to twist these all in the same direction to give me a little loop on the end, sort of like a paddle. Just like so. Now if I've got these all the same size, they're going to all be roughly the same size. I want them all to go the same way. We'll go back and tamp these down on the ends when we've finished to get it to be just like we need it. Okay. All right, so now we're going to continue the sumac technique with the wire that we had left over up on the top, but I think I'm going to change the pattern a little bit. I'm going to wrap 1, 2, and then the third time I'm going to change over to the middle strand. So 1, 2, and 3, and then change to the third strand. 1, 2, and 3. Now on the back, I'm just going to come all the way around the back and then start on number 1 again, so that we're going to have a little different pattern up here on the hook that we'll use as the bail. So 1, 2, and then go on the third one to the second piece of square wire. 1, 2, and then to the third piece of square wire. 2 and 3. So now you can see that there's a pattern, sort of a stair-step pattern, if you will. And this is going to hold those wires together even more. And this will be our bail. 1, 2, and then move to the second one. 1, 2, and then move to the third. And we'll put a couple more of these rows on here, and then bend the bail and finish setting the stone. Now we will cut this off a little bit shorter and make the little paddle here. That one is slipped just a little bit, so you can pull any one of the strands that are still connected. These three square wires, you can pull that up to pull the slack up, so you can get all of these little paddles in the right, or roughly the right place. And then you can use the side of your pliers to burnish this down and get all the surfaces nice and flat so that you don't snag anything. Now just snip this, and we're going to pull this forward just like so. And then again, you could use any number of pliers that are available to make this loop that we're going to put in this. I'm going to wrap this around one more time and then cut it from the center. We're going to cut these all even and then do a little curve from either side and up the back. So this one we want to curve from this side and around. This one will curve the opposite. And this one will pull straight up and back. Close those down. Sort of bend that so it has sort of a hook shape to it. And then you're going to hook that onto any already existing necklace. And there you have, it almost has the feeling of music notes. But that's how it's another way of setting a cab using the sumac technique.